So I saw Marvel's Thunderbolts at the weekend, and I'll be honest, I went in with pretty low expectations. I weren't really a fan of some of the characters from what I saw of them in the shows and films they first appeared in, but the trailer looked funny, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a watch. So is Marvel's Thunderbolts worth going seeing at the cinemas? Let's get into it. So the story kicks off when we're introduced to the Thunderbolts, a ragtag team of morally grey anti-heroes, government operatives and reform villains, forced to work together. And yeah, when you say the premise out loud, it kinda sounds like the MC version of Suicide Squad. So what makes Thunderbolts different? Well, when it comes to intensity and emotions, Thunderbolts does not hold back. If you're expecting the same old quippy feel-good Marvel flick...
Hey, how's your girl, man?
She left me.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom died too. And my dad got deported. But I got the van.
It's nice.
Yeah, right?
This ain't it. Thunderbolts dives into trauma, manipulation, and characters carrying way more baggage than your average superhero. I mean, I honestly wasn't expecting this movie to be as grounded and brutal as it was. It's like they took the grit of Winter Soldier and then blended it with the emotional chaos of Civil War. Now, I'm not saying that the film doesn't have its funny moments, because trust me, it does.
Don't worry, she's bulletproof. What happened to bulletproof? It's bulletproof!
The cast interactions and conflicting personalities are on point. It's similar to the first Avengers film, but with a lot more character depth. Now, like I said, throughout the start of the film, we're introduced to the Thunderbolts. Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, is essentially the main protagonist of the film, and honestly, her performance is amazing. Not only does she have that dry, deadpan humour that makes her character entertaining to watch, but she also has a lot of heart and emotional pain, which is portrayed really well throughout the movie. Sebastian Stan returns as Bucky Barnes, and mate, that scene from the trailer where he comes in like the Terminator is sweet. Shame they spoilt it in the trailers. It is epic though. Now, throughout the film, Bucky has some great lines, especially when he interacts with Red Guardian.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank...
But Bucky does feel like an old tired war dog trying to do the right thing whilst the world's going to hell around him. Speaking of Red Guardian, David Harbour reprises his role and is just as funny as he was in Black Widow, but this time they've given his character a lot more heart. Red Guardian's and Bucky's episode in the latest season of What If was the main driving factor for me going seeing this film, and it did not disappoint. As for the characters I was less bothered about before watching the film, Wyatt Russell is back as John Walker, aka US Agent. I'll admit I wasn't a fan of his character or performance in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. In the film, he's still a walking PR disaster, but what's done well is it shows us the repercussions of his previous actions and how it affected his personal life. He's still an arsehole, but he's a lot more likeable in the Thunderbolts, especially with his interactions with the rest of the team.
I'd like not to die today, so maybe somebody else should be driving.
Hannah John Kamen reprises her role as Ghost, and unlike the rest of the Thunderbolts, she actually has powers. I don't really have too much to say about her character really. She has some cool scenes, but compared to the rest of the cast, she just felt a bit lacking in terms of character development. And then finally, we have Taskmaster. Ugh. I hated what they did to Taskmaster in Black Widow. It was the fact that she didn't have actual powers that Taskmaster's supposed to have. It was just some device. But not only that, they took away her ability to speak, essentially giving her the Wolverine Origins Deadpool treatment. It was just ridiculous. So what about in Thunderbolts? Did they make a character more like Taskmaster should have been, or was it more of the same? Well, minor spoiler here, but the answer is neither. The writers were like, screw that shit, kill her off in the first scene. Make sure she has no dialogue, just introduction, fight, dead. I mean, I'm not complaining, I just remember laughing thinking to myself, ha, is that it? Hopefully, in the future, they'll introduce a proper Taskmaster, like they did with the Mandarin, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, like I said, I didn't really care much for some of these characters before the film, but Thunderbolts actually got me invested in them. Watching the group clash, screw up, and then slowly form this dysfunctional family unit was one of my favourite things about the film. Every one of these characters is trying to outrun something, whether it's the past, the guilt, or the trauma. These aren't just your typical heroes, and that's the hook. Thunderbolts is about broken people trying to do the right thing, even if they have no idea what doing the right thing looks like anymore. And I think that's what makes Thunderbolts better than the Suicide Squad. Not only does it give you epic and intense action sequences, but also makes you care way more about the characters. Okay, so let's talk about the film's villains. Julia Louise-Dreyfus plays the character Valentina de Fontaine, the film's main antagonist, and she does a great job in her role. She's not your typical villain, she doesn't even have powers, but what she does have is knowledge, connections and resources. She essentially pulls the strings from the shadows like some sort of master puppeteer. Her character is a bitch, but she's not an unlikable character. She's more of a ruthless businesswoman. To her, none of it's personal. As for the film's other villain, the Sentry makes his first appearance played by Lewis Pullman. And let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
When the Sentry uses his full powers, he's an absolute beast. When they said he's going to be the strongest being in the MCU, they weren't lying. But it's not just his powers that make him a good character. He's not just another cosmic threat. His story is very human, covering serious mental illnesses such as depression and bipolarism. And this grounded approach to an OP character is done so well. Don't worry though, like the rest of the cast, Lewis Pullman's great at bringing the comedic elements to his character when it's needed in the story. Now I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but trust me when I say the final act hits hard. There's this one scene in particular that caught me so off guard I almost choked on my drink. It was definitely a holy shit moment.
Damn!
Okay, so I've got to give a shout out to the fight choreography. It gave me proper Winter Soldier vibes, and the CGI is on point too. And with Thunderbolts having a runtime of just over 2 hours, the pacing's great. It's focused, streamlined, and keeps you engaged throughout the whole movie. Now, there is a mid-credit and an end-credit scene, so make sure to stick around for both of those because they're definitely worth watching. The Thunderbolts feels like the MCU's finally getting back on track. Good characters, good writing, and it's starting to feel more interconnected again, leading up to something bigger like what they used to before Endgame, and it's definitely worth watching at the cinema. But what do you think? Have you seen the Thunderbolts yet? If so, what are your thoughts, and do you have any theories about the future of the MCU? Let me know down in the comments, and if you could do me a solid by liking and subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. Also, if you like live stream gameplay then check out my Twitch, and I'm currently looking for a Discord admin, so if you're interested, join my Discord, send me a message, the links are in the description. I hope you all have a great week, and thanks for watching. Until next time peeps, stay frosty.